Hey, welcome back to the Weekly Word. Thanks for joining us this week. We're at it's called Bat Creek, right about the Monroe County, Loudoun County line. Tellico Lake behind us, kind of muddy today, but not too far from here. About 120 some odd years ago, something was found in an Indian mound that, if it's true, it changes American history. The U.S. government had commissioned archaeologists to exhume some of these mounds along the Little Tennessee River, and there were 3 of them at the mouth of Bat Creek. 2 of them today are under the Tellico Reservoir. The 3rd one, which was excavated, is just a flat field now. It's above the water line, but it's all gone. It's been plowed so many times and excavated. But in 1890s, the Smithsonian Institution had an archaeologist here by the name of Smith, and he was excavating in this mound, and there was a giant walnut stump on top. The farmer had cleared the mound about 40 years prior, which would put it back to about 1850, and as he excavated it, he noted that the roots from that old walnut stump went down through 5 skeletons' ribs. That's how old they were. One of the skeletons had 2 copper bracelets beside of him, and this mysterious rock that had symbols on it. It was like a necklace kind of rock. It's about this wide and this long that he would have wore around his neck. And the archaeologist at first said, look, it's got the Cherokee alphabet on it, which was crazy. The Cherokee alphabet wasn't invented to the 1820s, and this was much, much older than that. It took many, many decades, I think all the way up into the 20th century, before somebody realized, hey, that writing on that rock is not Cherokee, it's Paleo-Hebrew. So the Smithsonian and the McClung Museum, where it's supposed to be at today, both say the rock is a fraud. There's no way there was Hebrew writing in a Cherokee Indian mound. But that's the only reason they give, that they call it a fraud. It just don't work, Hebrew inside of an Indian mound. But in 2010, a Mr. Scott Wolker, W-O-L-K-E-R, at the University of Tennessee, used the latest technology in microscopes and was able to determine by the copper that had leached into the stone and all these things that that stone was at least as old as 1300 AD, probably much older than that, and he could determine that it had to have been placed in the mound at the same time that the skeletons were. Now, you don't hear much about this today, but if it's true, it means that there was old world contact with this world way before Columbus got here. We do know there were people in the Middle East that used that Paleo-Hebrew language. There's one letter or so broke off the end of it, so there's a discrepancy about actually what it says. One translation says a comet for Judea, which would probably be a reference to Christ, the Star of Judah. Another translation of it could say holiness to the Lord, which is what Moses tells us in the Old Testament Pentateuch, that is what was written on the mitre, the hat of the high priest when they would go into the temple or the tabernacle back in Moses' day to offer before the Lord. It would say holiness to the Lord, that phrase. Now, you can read lots of books and lots of stuff on the internet. Most say it's a fraud. It's kind of a war. Is it real? Is it fraud? Is it not? I don't know. It don't matter. If it does, if you believe that it's true, all it does is it changes history here in the United States of America. But it don't matter if the rock's real or not. I know that Jesus is real, and I believe in him. And the rock's an interesting thing, but the Lord's real, and I believe in him no matter if the rock's true or not. Study the Bat Creek Stone. Look it up. It's interesting to you. We'll see you next week on the Weekly Word.